Welcome, ladies and gents, to another very special episode of Payday Mods Weekly. Today we're focusing on Payday the Heist mod, specifically in conjunction with the fantastic webpage you're seeing right here, created by Last Bullet. These really are some incredibly well-made mods that we're going to be taking a look at, featuring specifically later on in the video. And of course, the real pièce de résistance is the Payday the Heist HUD. A brilliant mod that we're going to go into great detail taking a good look at. Other than that, guys, kick back and relax. I'm using a different mic in case you're wondering about the audio quality. My Blue Yeti's connector cable is currently broken, and that's the reason this video is slightly late. But don't think there's only the mods within this page itself. There are a couple of additions that I've got from the community there in Last Bullet. So it's overall a mishmash of all things Payday the Heist. I hope you guys enjoy. First and foremost, I'd like to credit the guys behind the mods. A lot of these mods are huge collaboration projects, so it's worth mentioning not just one man put the effort into creating these. Great Big Bushy Beard, AJ Valentine, Sari Dragon, Peacemaker, Tatsuto, White 3 Designer are just some of the names that spring to mind. Of course, Game Mechanic made a brilliant tutorial on how to install the HUD, and all of these guys deserve equal credit and your round of applause. But of course, I only have so much room on the screen, and I don't want to pollute it with a load of names, so I'm just going to mention those who submitted it. But again, a huge hats off to those of you who assisted in the creation of these brilliant mods. If there is one thing you will notice about the Payday the Heist bundle, it is filled with iconic masks from the first game. The first set we're taking a look at are the golden masks, unlocked by completing all of these 6 original heists on Overkill 145 plus difficulty. They include masks for Dallas, Hoxton, Wolf, and Chains. In Payday 2, they will replace, in order, Dallas will replace the Kenneth mask, Hoxton the Monkey Business, Wolf, Mr. Mannequin, and Chains, Mr. Sackcloth, which means unfortunately I can't show off Chains because it's the only damn mask in the game I don't own. These can, of course, all be customized and can be seen client side within the menu. However, if you do choose to customize them, remember that players online will see the customization on the original mask they are based under. Of course, if you uninstall the mod, that is how the mask will be left also, so do be careful when using your patterns and materials to customize these modded masks. So in the middle of recording, my new microphone cable actually arrived, which means you get to sample both the old and new audio quality. I hope this quality is considerably better and you'll enjoy the rest of the video sounding like this. But the masks we're taking a look at now are even rarer than the gold ones, much harder to unlock within Payday the Heist, so they look fantastic within Payday 2. Hats off again to AJ Valentine for adding these in the mod bundle. They include masks again for all the 4 main characters from Payday the Heist, and maybe some of the nicest looking masks to have ever graced the franchise, let alone Payday the Heist. They do unfortunately cover up some nice looking masks from the base game. Dallas will take the Dripper, Hoxton, Gagball, Wolf, Hog, and Chains, Horned Beast. But otherwise I think they look considerably nicer. Again, remember they are client side, and you are going to have some troubles taking them online if you choose to customize them, but they will look excellent for your own enjoyment. And let's be honest, they don't even need customization. My personal preference of the 4 is Wolf's. Chains is a close second. I really love that black and white sort of design. I'd love to see me be able to do something just like that within Payday 2 itself. The last of the classic mask bundles in this pack is undoubtedly the most amusing and potentially the hardest to obtain. I really would love to see Overkill do a lot more of this. Back in Payday the Heist, when the Wolfpack DLC was announced, if you were to place somewhere on the internet in an amusing, trolling way the release date for the DLC, you would be granted these masks. It's a fantastic little bit of marketing, also a lot of fun that rewards the player. And I have to admit, these have translated the worst out of the 3 packs, but they still look fantastic. Notably, Hoxton's is probably my favourite over all. The Me Gusta Hoxton is so good. Forever Alone Chains is also excellent. So running through them left to right, you got Dallas with the troll face, as I've already said, Me Gusta Hoxton, the lol face for Wolf, and then finally Chains has Forever Alone. Again, they're going to replace some decent masks. We have Dallas replacing the Brainiac mask, Hoxton's going to be replacing the Bullet, Wolf the Canula, and finally Chains has of course the aptly named Crybaby for his Forever Alone mask. Again, they customize. Again, I wouldn't advise it. What's so great about a lot of the Payday the Heist masks was they looked excellent without customization because it wasn't a thing back then. Got a couple more masks to move on to, but we'll do them a little later on in the video. You guys have already seen and probably messed around with the HUD. It's going to be the last thing I talk about because I want to put the most information into it. Before that, the next most important thing I would say on your screen is probably the weapons I'm carrying. I'm bringing with me the GL40 and the cross kills. Also later on you'll see me whipping out the akimbo cross kills, and that's because I have Payday the Heist style GL40 and cross kill pistol. Both of these submitted by Mr. Red. They are absolutely excellent. Flawless, really, retextures back into the old Payday the Heist style. The GL40 has this lovely metallic sheen on it and a huge change in colour on the wood. It looks much better if you ask me on the whole. Then the cross kill even has modification changes, making those look different. And again, it's been reskinned to look more like its Payday the Heist counterpart. Fantastic looking mods, really makes you feel like you're playing a slightly different game. Within the gameplay, you may or may not have noticed a couple of what I like to call flavor mods. These are mods that change the overall feel of the game, but don't make a huge impact on your actual experience. Really, their main effect is on the atmosphere, which is perfect when trying to create a Payday the Heist feel. So the first one you're seeing is of course the Payday the Heist ammo packet retexture and remodel. This one was made by LBGM Sandman, who clearly has a real penchant for the old Payday the Heist because he also created the Payday the Heist shield mod. Moving over the Payday the Heist shield straight into Payday 2, coming with some of his original animations, and I genuinely find myself treating him just a little bit differently. My overall game experience is altered slightly by this mod. I definitely recommend it if you want to keep things fresh and new as I do. We also have the Overkill van, which you may or may not have seen so far. This one was made by Arcane, and it's nothing particularly special, but it's certainly something that gets me nostalgic every time I see it, and it looks very nice. A nice simple retexture of the van. It's a darker van with the Payday characters along the side. It's not exactly the most practical way to ride into battle. You know, you're making it pretty obvious what you're up to, but I definitely still like it again, just for nostalgia's sake, looking at what is a very nice picture. We also have the Payday the Heist gloves. This is a fantastic mod replacing this game's gloves that includes John Wick's with the Payday the Heist versions, which is sort of a lighter blue version of the medical gloves. Very cool, and you will notice the difference if you played both games extensively. We also have the Payday the Heist style loot bag. This is the olivey green color that you guys might remember from the first game. It's very effective. I actually think I might prefer it over the current Payday 2 color, and this one was added by Dude 47. There's a couple of other mods that I'm going to get onto later. They might be a little more noticeable, so I'm going to treat each of those individually. Other than that, if you want to make your game feel more like Payday the Heist, I'd say these are the mods that I would pick up first. Back to the aesthetics, but I am so impressed by this one. You're looking at two mods right now. Both of them are excellent, but the first one I'm going to talk about is the Realistic Clown Mask mod, submitted by White 3 Designer, but I'm sure he wasn't the only man working on this project. Just unbelievably good stuff. These are just HD retextures of the original masks, and they look phenomenal. I don't know why you wouldn't want this, to be perfectly honest. Admittedly, it doesn't show up server side, but just for your own enjoyment, these just look better. So I have to really take my hat off to this one. It's a straight upgrade, and for that reason I think it might be one of the best mask mods to exist. Then I'm rocking them out with the Payday the Heist style suits. That seems like the right way to do it with this Payday the Heist bundle. Each of the characters have their own unique suits. Even Wick and Hoxton got in on the action, even if they weren't in the game in their form. But the suits look fantastic, and again, each individually designed. I'm trying not to use fantastic. Phenomenal is a much better word. I'll stick to that one in the future. No, BMSTU Hedgehog, fantastic job on this one. No, phenomenal job, in fact. Well done, sir. I had to leave Sir Bushybeard's masterpiece of a HUD mod for last. I say masterpiece, it's actually becoming a masterpiece as we speak. It's a work in progress, which is brilliant because it was totally complete on launch. It wasn't like one of these games that you buy in early access. It was done. However, there were a few issues with it and bugs because it hadn't been playtested by a huge number of people as it has been now. and most of those have already been ironed out. In the future, I'm expecting more customizability, if that's a word, and of course more combinations with other types of HUD. That'd be brilliant to see. However, as it stands right now, I implore you guys to check it out. I can't push this one enough. It's brilliant. If you enjoyed Payday the Heist, you'll be sure to love it. It will give that whole nostalgic wave when you try it out, and it's so well done, so well pulled off, and suits Payday 2 just as well, if not better than its own HUD. I'd rather use it right now, not just because it's a change, just because I find some of the graphical twists it have just so much more endearing than the cleaner feel of Payday 2. I particularly love the mass in the bottom left-hand corner, the way health is displayed. However, I have to admit, other HUDs do it in a more efficient way, but at least this way no one can complain you're hacking because you use Hox HUD, which is not something I agree with. I'll talk very briefly about my my HUD history, actually, because Hox HUD was, like many of you out there, my first love, and I thought my only love. However, it was down for a little while, or there were a few issues with it. I tried out Poco HUD, and I was like, oh, this is also bloody amazing. Since then, I actually put them both down to enjoy the Payday the Heist HUD. I was worried about conflicts, which there are, unfortunately. It conflicts with Hox HUD, however, it seems to be ironed out with Poco HUD, and in the future, I imagine there'll be even more developments fixing the combinations of HUD mods you can use. So, I lost my damage numbers. I need those damage numbers. Those damage numbers make me who I am. But actually, I was enjoying using that HUD so much, it didn't faze me. Especially with combinations of other HUDs, you can make it both a powerful HUD, because there kind of is a tiering for HUDs now. If you have regular HUD, you are at a disadvantage. I agree. But I don't think it's an unfair disadvantage. It is a cooperative game after all. And I also think everyone should be on that raised playing field as opposed to the completely unaware. And if you don't want to be aware of things like damage numbers, turn the HUD and turn everything off. It's your own choice. That's what I'd love to see within the game on the whole. But that is just because I'm such a fan of HUD mods in general. I think they make the biggest difference. And I think that's where the current greatest developments are within Payday 2 modding. But I lost the numbers. I lost a lot of the things I loved about the other HUDs, and it didn't faze me. As I've said, when it gets more when there are more combinations with this HUD, you can still be very powerful and enjoy your nostalgia. And that'll be brilliant, and that's what I'm waiting for. So again, some of you listening in the future may be thinking, hey, that's already an option. Well, that is because Mr. Bushybeard is a very dedicated individual. Now, I'm not going to run through each and every one of the features because most of them are very obvious, but you're going to notice things like the assault triangle at the bottom. You're going to, of course, notice the way the gun's displayed, your other icons, things like your equipment. As I've already mentioned, the health and shield. You're going to lose out on things like stamina bars, but I was never a huge fan of those anyway. Stamina bars and recharge time, those are things that you should be able to get a feel for as you play the game. Really, I like my damage indicators to be specific, and I like to know how much damage I am doing, and that's it. And while this HUD doesn't fully cover that, it's got so much more going for it. It's so endearing in its vintage look, and I do love how the whole Payday the Heist color is this beautiful army-like olive green, and that's the feel I get from this HUD as well. It's all just so in keeping. I feel like my experience with the HUD was actually improved further by having these additional mods and giving me the Payday the Heist feel overall, and so I will recommend all the other mods alongside this one, but this one probably above the rest just because it's giving you something different, and I really want you guys to show your support to the large number of people who assisted with the creation of these fantastic mods, and particularly again the HUD. Bushybeard is to be hugely congratulated. I know he did a lot of the work on this one and is currently continuing to do so, and of course answering your questions over on the forums. And as such, guys, I implore you to check it out. Check it out, let them know what you think, let them know the issues, they will improve it. Customization's going to improve the same way it did with Hox HUD. I have full faith in this, so if you want a more vanilla feel, you want a classic feel, and you want a feel that doesn't make you feel dirty because you're a filthy cheat, this is the one I would choose, absolutely. And as far as installation is concerned, I'm going to link you to game mechanics video and just briefly run you through it myself. It's very simple. All you have to do is grab the Payday folder, grab what's inside that, and drop it in your actual Steam Payday folder. Very similar to installing all the other HUDs you've been exposed to in the past. And then all you have to do is get the font and use the bundle mod to drop that in, the same as with many of the mods I'm showcasing today. Again, things look excellent. I love the Payday style icons and interactions and colors, and it works incredibly well, and it's just so stylishly executed. So that's why I'm a huge fan of this mod, and I'm always a bigger fan of collaboration mods, because I think it shows what we're doing as a community, and it very much so is a community. So again, I'd love you guys to get involved, to try it out, and to comment what you think over either on my channel or on the mod pages themselves, because modders want to hear about it, I want to hear about it. I also want to hear if you guys have any other Payday the Heist ideas for mods. You've seen some that I've missed out, and of course mod ideas for the future are also advised. I've got a couple of ideas for next week's episode. This one was of course delayed by my stupid microphone, but again, I'd love to hear from you. Let's try and make it a more community-ran show. I hope you have enjoyed, guys, and I will of course see you all in the next one.